Thank you, Tom. It is my pleasure to give you an update this morning on our pledge campaign. I think we're ready for that. Our total pledge commitments as of Friday are $58,400. And that is 46% of our goal. Wow. Now, since our last update just 1 week ago, pledge commitments have increased by more than $25,000. And if you were at church last Sunday, here in this room or on our cyber sanctuary, you probably know why we had such a big jump. Last Sunday, Jessica Wilcox gave another sterling performance by her alter ego, Jessie, Flo's cousin from the Life Cafe. And Jessie was hilarious, inspiring, and irresistible. And she finished with a pledge song she wrote and performed. And although admitting that was not her comfort zone, and she had never performed in the public singing before, but she did it, and with courage and grace. Thank you. So thank you, Jessica, for a job well done last week, and most entertaining. I want to add one more thing about our pledge goal. I spoke with a friend yesterday who said his pledge, he said he mailed in his pledge this past week, but as of this posting here on our tower, it had not been received. And I just found out from Susanna that it did come in the mail yesterday. His pledge, more than $4,000, will bring our pledge commitments to 50% of our goal. Wow. Now, I know I'm speaking for most everyone in this room and in our cyber sanctuary when I say Unity Santa Fe is a spiritual community that nurtures our soul. We share so much love with the people in our community. Whenever that happens in the sanctuary, in soul circles, small gatherings, and we so treasure the inspirational messages, the wisdom of the soul circles classes over the years, which have challenged all of us to be the best versions of ourselves. And our world-class music program in choir. And I could go on, but I know I'm just preaching to the choir here. But that leads me to another aspect of Unity Santa Fe I want to talk about briefly. And I didn't really realize or understand this until I was elected for the first time on the Board of Trustees in 2007. Our church is both a spiritual community and a business. Our business has operating expenses, income requirements, and that's what our pledge drive is all about. And I learned firsthand as our treasurer, the single most important income source for planning and budgeting our business of the church is our annual pledge amount. We have other sources of income which we dearly appreciate, but the pledged income is the higher and more predictable source we rely on for budgeting and planning for the coming year. And I am very hopeful about meeting our pledge goal for next year. We're at the halfway point, 50%, yay. And I know folks who have pledged already for the very first time. And I know folks who are increasing their pledge amounts over prior years. I recall hearing Brennan saying more than once, "I upped my pledge this year, up yours." She had a sense of humor even around pledging. So if you have not already pledged, please get yourself a pledge card and prayerfully go within and ask Spirit, what is yours to pledge for 2022? I do believe we can do this together, and thank you all for supporting our beloved church.
Yes? Yes. Yeah, yes. Good morning. So a couple days was Thanksgiving, right? We've had some time to kind of process our food, right? Everything's kind of settled. And the most common thing that probably happened was something like this. Dear God, thank you for this food. Pretty standard prayer. Well, today, focusing on all the blessings, I want to encourage and inspire you and hope that when you leave here today, you go from saying, Dear God, thank you for this food, to Dear God, thank you for all the food. Replacing this with all. Dear God, thank you for this food. Dear God, thank you for all the food. Thank you for this community. Thank you for all the spiritual communities. Thank you for this person. Thank you for all the people. Expanding our consciousness beyond this, or beyond that, or beyond it. Now, the challenge is we are souls having a physical experience on this planet, in this body, at this time, right? It's like a triple whammy of this. 3 ways that we're being limited. So we have to shift from this to all while recognizing our physical existence, recognizing our body, recognizing the planet, recognizing where we are, the chairs that we're sitting in, the building that we're in. That's part of this experience, is experiencing that duality and learning how to reconcile the two. So in going from thank you for this food to thank you for all the food, we have to kind of go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. So I want y'all to hang with me for a minute as we go down this rabbit hole. We have to understand how our body works, right? And understand how our brain works and how we receive information so that we can appreciate the information that comes in. So our brains are amazing. Our bodies are amazing. We're like walking supercomputers that are constantly registering and accepting and interpreting information that we get. And we get that information from our 5 senses, right? From our eyeballs, our ears, our nose, our taste, our touch. And then when that information comes in through those 5 senses, it gets in our brain. And then what we do, and so I'm a child counselor, and a lot of what I do is explain how our brain works to like 4-year-olds. So here's the 4-year-old version of how our brain works. So we get information in, like we see things through our eyeballs, and then it goes into our brain. And then what happens is our brain looks for things that are similar to what we just saw. And 2 things will happen. Either we find something in our brain that goes, oh yeah, that looks familiar, I know that. Or it comes in our brain and it goes, wait a second, I don't know what that is. I've never seen that before. So it's an either or. Remember, we're like computers. It's a 1 or a 0, safe or unsafe. Now you take this process and kind of elaborate it out a little bit. There's a field of study called evolutionary psychology. And evolutionary psychology says that we are genetically hardwired for survival. that our brains interpret everything that comes in as either safe or a threat. It's a 1 or a 0, it's safe, it's unsafe. When we use our 5 senses to input information into our brain, finding either something that's similar or something that's not similar, our brain then creates chemicals. Greg Braden's book, oh my God, I just blanked on it. The Molecules of Emotions goes into the physical response of what happens when we take in information. So if something's registering in our brain as unsafe, as a threat, our body starts creating cortisol. And cortisol is the thing that makes us inflate inside. It constricts us. It makes our blood vessels go from this to this. It makes us tense in our body. It goes, wait a second, I need to go into survival mode. I need to either fight, flight, or freeze. And I'm going to do that with all this cortisol. And I'm going to keep myself safe. Now, the opposite of that is if we get that information in and it recognizes as something familiar, something safe, we go, oh yeah, the last time I saw that, I liked it. Then our brain starts producing chemicals like serotonin and feel-good things. And we start feeling happy. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was good. I felt good when I saw that last time. So we can have one of two feelings in response to what our physical body is receiving. Okay? So we have these feelings inside of us that are coming from our brain, that's coming from our 5 senses, from this physical experience. Now, what does this have to do with all the blessings? Okay, we're down at the bottom of the rabbit hole. We got to get ourselves back out. Because we're in this body, receiving information through our 5 senses, we want to use that to our advantage. We want to make it work for us. We want to have great, amazing experiences, and so we have to know how this works to take advantage of it. And so now y'all know how it works. We take in information, and then our body produces chemicals that make us feel a certain way in response to the information that we take in. So those feelings, then, once we have that feeling, and now that we know how everything works, we can hold on to that feeling. We can make it register in our brain and go, oh yeah, this is a good feeling. And once it registers in your brain as a good feeling, you're then creating neural pathways so that the next time some new information comes in, it can sync up with this pathway that says, oh yeah, that's good. And the information comes in and it connects with the good feeling, and you get more good feelings. So this is taking advantage of the limitations that we're naturally inheriting when we come to this planet in this body. When our souls decide to have a human experience, there's limitations built into that. And again, we want to take advantage of that. So it works in our favor. Because like Tom Newman said last week, the whole point of all of this is to learn and to grow. And if we're not taking in that new information and making it register in a way that's beneficial, then we're not learning, we're not growing. We want to take advantage of this. We don't want to see this. We want to take advantage of all so that we expand ourselves so that we can receive more. Right? So we get all of it. And this isn't like a greedy all of it. This is an opportunity to recognize more blessings. And the more blessings we recognize, then we're causing our brain to send out more serotonin into our body and have more good feelings. And the more serotonin and the more good feelings we have, the more good we're going to do for other people. So it's actually like a really selfless thing that we're doing to be grateful and recognize all the blessings. So what I would like for us to do, because part of this is practice, and the only way to get that muscle memory in there, to build those neural pathways so the new information clicks when it comes in, so that we can go from recognizing this food to all the food, recognizing this blessing to all the blessings is through practice. So everybody was given a piece of paper and a marker when they came in. So we're going to practice recognizing blessings. And again, because we're human and because there is a limitation involved, we're going to recognize that limitation, and we're going to start by recognizing and naming one physical blessing. So I'd like for everybody just to take a second, recognize and name one physical blessing. Do you have that object in your brain? My example for this exercise is my dog Lola. I love my dog Lola. So in the middle of your paper, I would like for you to write that blessing. What is that thing? And then draw a circle around it. And we're going to create a flower. This is the center of your flower. And we're going to add 5 petals to our flower, one at a time, each petal representing one of our 5 senses, because we want to take advantage of this body to recognize blessings, to create the feelings that will help us generate more and recognize all of the things beyond our body. So we have to start at our body before we can get beyond our body. So the first petal, I would like for you to name what your blessing looks like. Using our sight, we're going to recognize our sense of sight. What does your blessing look like? And then now we're going to add our second petal. And inside that petal, I would like for you to write what that blessing feels like. When you touch it, what does it feel like? Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it scratchy? Is it smooth? What does it feel like? And then our third petal, I would like for you to write, what does that blessing sound like? What does it sound? If it makes a noise, what does it sound like? And if your blessing does not make a noise, what would it sound like if it made a noise? Remember, we're giving attention to each of our senses. What does it sound like? And then our fourth petal, what does your blessing smell like? Does it have a scent? If it doesn't have a scent, what would it smell like if it had a scent? For some of our blessings, this is going beyond our physical nose into our power of imagination. What would it smell like? And then our last and our fifth petal, the sense of taste. What does your blessing taste like? And we can take that beyond that. What does it feel like in your mouth? Because some foods, some objects, along with taste, there's like a feeling on our palate. And again, if it doesn't have a taste, what would it taste like? Using our power of imagination. So now we have the center of our flower, our blessing. We've named all 5 senses, describing that blessing using our physical body, recognizing the blessings of the physical attributes of our blessing. Taking advantage of all that our body can do, all the descriptors of the physical. So now from that flower, because flowers don't exist as floating petals, there's a stem. So now I would like for you to draw a stem. And on this stem, I would like for you to name the feeling that you're feeling right now. When you think about the physical attributes of the blessing that you are drawing, what feeling is being created? Remember, our mind creates chemicals that create feelings. So we've just used our 5 senses in our brain to trigger the release of chemicals. What are you feeling in your body? That's the stem of your flower. And now really thinking about that feeling it in your body, because again, we are physical beings. What is that feeling anchored to? What's the soil that it's planted in? The dirt, the ground. We need to anchor this feeling. Sometimes it's called grounding. We want to solidify that feeling. We want to anchor it to something bigger than the petals, which are physical. Because again, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Our physical body is what's creating this experience for our spiritual side. So in the soil of your flower, what is anchoring that feeling? So for example, my dog Lola is fluffy. She's brown. After a bath, she smells like coconuts. Before a bath, she smells different, but we're going with the coconut. It's a better image. She doesn't make a lot of noise, so her sound is quiet. Her taste, I imagine, if I could attribute a taste to my dog Lola, would be something like a peanut butter Reese's cup, because she's brown and black. She's soft. She's sweet. She uses her eyeballs to point to the things that she's trying to get me to do. She communicates. And that feeling, when I think about and describe my dog Lola, that feeling is like companionship. It's friendship. It's community. And then that feeling of companionship and friendship, for me, represents community. It reminds me that I'm not alone on this planet. There are other people, there are other beings, there are other animals that I coexist with. It's a reminder of something bigger than me. So you take something physical, figure out, use your senses to describe it, to recognize the blessings of that physical. Drop that down into your body, see how your feeling is. What's the feeling for that physical? And then drop that down even deeper to recognize how that connects you back to source. And from there, you can recognize all the blessings. You can recognize that the scruffy little hair on my dog Lola smells like coconuts after a bath and smells like sweat before the bath. And that scruffy little fur gives me something to pet and creates feelings, which create community, which connects me to other people and other animals on this planet. So recognizing this is a beautiful place to start in an attempt to recognize all. Because we can't skip over the process, right? That's part of this experience, is to go through the process, recognize what's happening, in order to get to something else. We're not born knowing how to drive. We start off by crawling, and then we walk, and then maybe we learn to roller skate, and then maybe we learn to ride a bicycle, and then maybe a motorcycle, and then a car. There's a process. So your flowers, we just started with one blessing. Just a practice, just to get into the groove of things, figure it out. So your homework is to then take this blessing and turn it into a garden. Turn it into all the flowers. The petals can be different. You can elaborate and turn it into a tree. Then you can turn it into a tree that has fruit. Turn it into a whole big garden. You can keep going. You can add a house, add a picket fence, add animals, add people. Add all of it. Because it's not just about one flower, right? It's about all of it. So for today, I hope that this one flower, these 5 senses that we're limited to, that you're able to make that connection between the limits of this body and the amazing things that it does in generating feelings, and then recognizing those feelings and taking it somewhere bigger and deeper so that you can recognize all. Fill in the blank. And I would encourage you not to fill in the blank, right? Filling in the blank is a word, and it's going to limit whatever the all is. But we're human, and we speak in English, and there's limitations. So I would encourage you to, again, think of all, and at the same time be gentle with yourselves in recognizing the this, the that, the it, that all come together to create the all. And so holding this feeling of all, and the feeling that your one blessing generated, I'd like to close this out with a prayer, with a little meditation. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So turning within, if we could just close our eyes. And we'll take a nice breath in, taking in all the air through our 2 nostrils. And letting that breath come in through our nose, noticing how it feels in our nostrils, using that sense of feel to recognize that breath coming in. And then releasing it out through our mouth. And again, breathing it in and listening for the sound of our exhale. Again, using that sense of hearing. And as we breathe in again, shifting our focus of our eyes down, feeling that breath move through our body, down through our chest, filling our lungs, moving even deeper through our belly, our core, moving our focus and our breath down through our thighs, our knees, our calves, down to our feet. And then on the breath in, we feel that energy coming back up through our calves, up through our knees, through our thighs, bringing it back up through our core, our belly, our lungs, our heart. And letting that breath and all of our feelings and all of those good chemicals, everything beautiful that our brain does, that our heart mirrors. We feel every cell and atom of our heart vibrating at the same frequency, recognizing all of the blood vessels, all of the cells, all the beautiful things that our body does to recognize all the blessings in this world. And again, taking another breath in and a nice breath out. We say thank you for our beautiful bodies. Thank you for our 5 senses. Thank you for the blessing. And thank you for all of the blessings that we see and that we feel and that we recognize and that we don't recognize. We say thank you for all of the blessings, knowing that they are always with us. They're always available. They are in everything. They are in all. And now taking one final breath in. And on the release, we can open our eyes. I say thank you all.